Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with a Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo.
Welcome back, everybody. And on this episode, we are going to be recapping the season finale of The Real Housewives of Orange County and The Real Housewives of New York. I need to apologize that I'm getting this out way later than I usually do, but we were all a little sick after our trip. We are all better now, thank God. And then my daughter didn't have school, the older one, for like days in a row. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then I feel bad if I don't like pay attention to her. And I would be doing something like this when it's like our special time off. So we went to the mall. We did like a little lunch yesterday. So now they're both back in school, back to regularly scheduled programming. And I am just as excited to talk about this as I am to watch the first part of the reunion, because they gave us a preview at the end for the reunion and we'll talk about it at the end. But it's just like this season, I think these shows are getting to the point where the relationships are becoming so toxic on some of them. It's not just like goofy, petty fights like New York. Like Orange County is almost getting to a level of New Jersey with like Shannon and Tamra. Like, I don't know how we could have them come on again and the show be fun. Because it's like if every single episode you're going to call Shannon an alcoholic and she's going to go in her like quiet look down voice and go, okay, I'm done. I'm done. And like, well, I don't want to see that every week. It's annoying. It's like Teresa and Melissa. After a while, it's like, just pick one of them to leave at this point. Even if it's not the one that I want to leave, it's like, please let's just let the show be happy again. And some can say it was maybe even more dark with them because it's family, but I feel the Shannon and Tamara stuff has gotten just as dark almost. Now with Alexis and like Jesus Jugs Bellino and Johnny J in the mix, I mean, they can't come back either. And I think we all have the common denominator consensus that Alexis was a flop back in the day and she's a flop now. She just is a try hard and it's just too much for me. So let's just dive into the recap and then we will talk about the thoughts for the reunion a little bit at the end, and then we'll take a little break and then we will recap Real Housewives of New York. I figured I wanted to start with the season finale for Orange County. Like, I'm going to talk about that way more than New York, but we'll do our little blip for New York. So Gina and Emily go axe throwing. And I feel like we're always doing this. Don't we feel like they did it on Jersey? I like it though. It gets out the aggression. Maybe the whole group should go, but then maybe Shannon would like accidentally throw it at Tamara. So Shannon arrives and they're talking about how Shannon left early from the trip. And that is sad. So we didn't see that, but she did threaten to leave and she delivered. She was like, no empty threats from Shannon Storms Bedore. She left her own birthday trip early because Tamara can't zip her damn lips. And I'm getting equally pissed with Heather because even if Heather thinks Shannon is a drunk, like you can think that. And I'm not even saying Tamara can't think that, but to say it or then for Heather to sit there and let Tamara say it every damn week, it's like, all right, enough. Enough. I feel like they all like their alcohol, maybe some more than others, but like Tamara, it's okay for you to get drunk and like take your clothes off on the show. I mean, just because you're not running into a house with your car. But you know what? Karma will set in on her. Like, I'm not saying I wish that upon anybody or Tamara, of course, but I'm just saying all the shit she talked on Shannon, watch Tamara get a DUI next. Like, serious, unless she's like, knows karma's going to get her and she's Ubering everywhere, but something will happen to her. Something like when she did that laser on her face, I would have like been scared. My face would have permanently looked like that from karma, honestly. But then Jen arrives. And she comes in with a big old rock on her finger because Ryan finally popped the question. And they were in the Bahamas on one of their alleged shady trips that they take, either the Bahamas or Las Vegas. So they were in the Bahamas. She's like, he was like fidgeting. And you like know when your man is going to ask you. So first of all, they're on vacation. So she had her nails done. So let's check one. And then they're just having like a little walk on the beach and they're with friends. So it's good. So they can like videotape them and she won't even know. So that's step 2. And then step 3 is they get awkward and like start saying weird stuff that they wouldn't say on a daily basis. Like, it's like, you know, I love you so much and I just want to spend the rest of my life with you. And as soon as they say something like that, you're like, okay, you're asking me to marry you. Cause like you literally never talk like that on a daily basis. And the ring is gorgeous. Love it. Love that for them. A little concern for Jen. If anything is going to happen with Ryan, like even if he's not guilty, it could be guilty by association with the friend. So I don't know. Very happy for them though. Mazel tov. And Gina is just saying to Shannon that she does think her and Tamara are both at fault for that Travis article, but she said, I'm glad that you obviously didn't say anything on the reunion because she very well could have. And then they showed a flashback from the day before of them taking a walk by themselves. And Shannon's like, I do regret that, but I'm glad I never said anything and blah, blah, blah. And in the confessional, Gina said, they both had a part in it, but I'm forgiving Shannon because she's working on herself. And I can't say the same for Tamara. And it's true because Tamara does this thing. It's like she has a bipolar episode of screaming at you. And then the next day she's like, hi, can we be friends? It's like, no, bitch. And then now she's, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, using the excuse of saying she's on the spectrum with autism. And that's why she acts like a bitch on the show. Like, nice try. I don't think so. I'm not a medical doctor, but I think she's just trying to scramble and like save face. Like, it's like when you're on a campaign, it's like, all right, they just made a mistake. How are we going to like cover it up and fix it? That is Tamara, like damage control 101. She's like, all right, how can I tell people that I'm a bitch and have no empathy? Oh, I'll say I'm on the spectrum. Like, no. So when Shannon is throwing the axe, she actually is envisioning Tamara, which is funny. I have never been axe throwing. I would love to go axe throwing. I think it would be fun. And I think it would be a great way to let the frustration out, which is why it would be interesting for all the ladies to do this. But I do think it would be rough having weapons and some people don't like each other. But then we get Jesus Jugs coming over to Tamara's house. And this next scene, she either was told to say this or literally rehearsed it in the mirror for a straight month. She has a roll of Clorox wipes with a little like bow on it. And she's like, hi. And she's like, oh, I need to come in and give you this because we're going to need it for all the shit we have to talk. Like, I know she was rehearsing that in the mirror, or she was probably like hopped up on all her Red Bulls since she said she can't have coffee, but she's having damn Red Bulls still. And like all the Diet Cokes. I feel like all these ladies love the Diet Cokes. And she's probably like to Johnny J, like, oh my God, listen to what I'm going to go over and say when I'm on camera. Isn't it so funny? And it's like, no, it's actually not at all, literally at all. So they're showing a flashback of Alexis FaceTiming Tamara and Heather in London. And she was saying her and John were ring shopping. So I don't know like what the exact time frame is that they have been together at this point, like on the show. I feel like it's only like 6 months or something. So then we get an appearance from Johnny J, Mr. I don't want to be on camera, be on TV. It's ruined my life, in the confessional. And he says, I've never loved anybody more in my life with Alexis. And then I just love how the producers do people dirty. So they were doing Shannon dirty a little bit all season, always showing her having a drink order, a cocktail at dinner. But I love the flashback to him saying the same exact thing to Shannon basically over like a year ago. He's saying like they're out to dinner with Tamara and Eddie, and he's like, I just love Shannon and I know I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her. It's like, you know what?
Shut up. Shut up.
Like, what are you going to say that to somebody else next too? Like, we'll get like who's single that used to be on the show? We'll get freaking Gina like on the show, and then you're going to say that to her next year. It's like, I just don't like how he acts like him and Shannon weren't in love. Like they didn't date for years. I mean, he was with Shannon longer than he is currently even been with Alexis. I mean, it's only been like a year around this time, I feel like, because it was around BravoCon and they got together like shortly after that because they were not together during BravoCon. So she did come to BravoCon, but then it was like, okay, now you're dating him. It's like weird. And at first I was like, oh, you're just dating him to get on the show. But now, obviously, I suppose she likes him. Jim Bellino, interesting fact, went on, I think I said this on my last episode, but just to reiterate, went on a podcast and he said he hopes Alexis signs or has Johnny J sign a prenup. So that's very fascinating. Like, I wonder how much money she got from him. And he said he like gave her that house. So I don't know if that was their house that was on the show or if they had gotten another house and he just gave her that, or he just like bought her a house. I don't know. But very interesting that he's saying that. But I'm glad we didn't get a John and Alexis engagement on the show, because also I feel like it's like you have to keep the friends of at a friend of level, because also you would be using them, I feel like Jackie Goldschneider was used so hard for Real Housewives of New Jersey because she was on every episode. She was really involved in the drama, and she didn't get the notoriety and the paycheck that went along with it. So at least they are keeping Alexis at arm's length. She is not on every single episode, so I do like that. But she is the one that's being dubbed to throw the party, the season finale party. And I'm like, well, that's goofy. So she said to Tamara she's going to throw Jen an engagement party, which is also very weird because it's like, I'm sorry, when did I miss you guys actually being friends? Because I feel like if anything, Jen is team Shannon if we have to pick sides. If it has to be a black and white thing, she's team Shannon because she doesn't like Tamara. And Alexis and Tamara are like sock monkey puppet twins at this point. Like, you either hate both of them or like both of them. And Heather is now becoming in the mix, which I don't like. They're the new Trace Amicus, I guess we could call. And I feel like this means Bravo is throwing it, not Alexis. Like, still weird we're dubbing her. But then Katie was actually along with her to plan it, which also is weird because I'm like, I'm sorry, since when are you like friends with Alexis? But I feel like Katie and Jen were like getting friendly this season, or at least at the end of the season. So I don't know why we just didn't have Katie throw it. Also, because she's new, that would have been nice and made more sense. The fact we dubbed this party up to Alexis is like annoying. So she said the theme is going to be bad bridesmaids dresses, which I did like the theme. And I could only envision this is what Alexis would have at her wedding, bad bridesmaids dresses. I literally could envision what she actually wore to the party as her bridesmaids, what they would wear. And we'll get into that when we talk about the party. But I was like, you had awful fashion all year. How appropriate. So then they do like a little like check-in with all the ladies and their kids. So Tamara's daughter wrote a song. She's producing it, doing like the beats for it and everything. And she said she should get into the music industry. Well, now with like stuff that's coming out about the music industry, we don't really know if you should get into the music industry. All the P. Diddy of it all. Maybe just stick to something else. But then Jen is having a chat with her son, Dawson, and that he wants to get his GED. So he wants to quit high school and go into the military. Now, we all need to appreciate any man or woman that wants to get into the military, serve our country. Love that. But I feel like unless you have to quit high school for a reason and get your GED, sorry, not GED, GED, do not just choose to do it. Like, oh, I just don't feel like finishing high school. No, finish high school. And then if you want to go into the military, that's lovely. But I feel like unless there's just, like I said, a reason, a crazy reason with life, that you have to quit high school, and of course applauding people that then get their GED because you need that, but he needs to finish high school in my opinion, and then he could go into the military. I can tell he kind of like gives Jen a run for her money, like he's that rebel kid, he's the tough one, and it's tough enough when you have a tough kid and you're married, but when you're divorced and you have a tough kid, it just makes it so much harder because the kid is going to naturally pin the parents against each other. Like he's probably like, okay, well, I'm going to go tell the same thing to dad and see what he says. And hopefully the dad would have enough common sense to be like, love that for you, but let's finish high school, bud. Like, let's just get her done and then you could do whatever you want. Because then you're an adult. Like, I didn't even know you could go into the military without your high school diploma. Like, because he needs to get his GED. So it's like, you're going to drop out of high school to then get your GED to then go into the military. It's like, no, just graduate high school and then you could go into the military. And he's driving. So he has to be going into his junior or senior year. So it's like, you're halfway, you're almost done. I feel bad for him. And it's like, not like he has a tough upbringing that it's like, oh, I need to get out of my house and get into the military, like speeding that process up. So I hope that he's just going to finish high school and then go into the military. That sounds very noble and lovely. All right, moving on from that, like sentimental, I feel like parenting issue, but I did feel bad because at first he's telling Jen he wants to move out because she has rules and a curfew, God forbid. And then he's sitting Jen down and saying, I want to quit high school and go into the military. She's probably like, oh my God, I need like a Xanax and a Diet Coke. She needs a Malibu and Diet Coke. And then Heather is having a chat with her son. So I think he's the oldest one. He is selling houses. He's working for the Altmans because I saw him on $1 Million Listing, which, by the way, did anybody see that Josh and Heather Altman officially quit the show? So my thought is they're going to maybe pitch their own show because he really is like on his own now. And he just opened an office in Orange County, actually. So I bet their son works at that one now. And he's like booked and busy. So I feel like he wants his own show and not just being on $1 Million Listing. He'll be like the Altman. I don't know. But yeah, they did a whole post, a whole video, and said that they're not going to come back. So it's very interesting. I do like that show. It's like not like, oh my God, let's sit down scheduled and watch this. And like, but I like it. Like if it's on, my husband and I'll turn it on. And he likes that one because like the houses and whatnot. Even though I make him watch all this stuff with me against his will. Then Katie's daughter got the official name change in the mail. And that's nice. I like that, you know, if she got to the age she is, she feels her dad is not a part of her life and they don't see each other and they don't speak. And the stepdad's there putting in the work, really acting as the dad role, then I find no problem with her doing that because she made the decision all on her own. But then Travis comes over to help Gina around the house. And I just need to say, this is the conversation we've all been waiting for all season because it was like weird, like, oh, we're splitting up the household because the kids are just all crammed in here. Like it sounded like her just being selfish almost and being a little bratty. So we heard about the whole article on the London trip with Travis, Gina, and the ex-wife. And she said, like, this is why, you know, we separated the houses and it's just tough. And I don't want separate housing to be permanent. And then they get really emotional. And he said he feels like it wasn't the right decision because instead of staying close together in like a time of need, she pulled away, which is true. But I feel really bad for them because at the end of the day, I do understand why Gina did this. She can't have some nutbag around her kids doing all this toxic stuff. And if the nutbag is calling TMZ, getting the articles published, like that's ridiculous. And we want to talk about defamation. Why is that woman not being sued for defamation? Because that's terrible. I mean, Ryan's over there sending cease and desist to Tamara. Shannon honestly could to Tamara. John Jansen wants to, you know, do it to Shannon. This is wild that TMZ could even publish that. Like, I know it is a little fake news when we read stuff like that, exaggerated online gossip, but that's really bad. I mean, that is beyond what they should be printing if there's no truth to it at all. I feel the ex-wife and TMZ should be getting in trouble because that's just disgusting that Gina and Travis were put through that and associated with something so outlandish. And then their kids got to go to school and deal with all that shit. But I love that the Golden Doodles are right on camera, right in their business, just like ours. Like Frankie, our dog, would be right up in the camera, loving life, looking so cute. Meatball and Clover right there. The one Meatball is so big. Like, our dog is 95 pounds, so he's a big boy. He doesn't look large though, but like he's large. He's solid. And Meatball has to be like $120 if Frankie's 95. I mean, just damn love those golden doodles. They're just human beings, honestly, trapped in dogs' bodies. They are so cute. They are so precious. So they were right there on camera, right in the business, like interfering with Travis, putting whatever he was putting together. Love it. But I feel really bad for them, but I'm glad we got this talk. And I feel like we should have had this talk at the beginning of the season. Then it would have made more sense, but whatever. At least we got it at the end. So we get an appearance from our girl Vicky. Thank God that I knew Vicky would be by Shannon's side for this party, because if Vicky was on this trip, I don't think Tamara would have flapped her mouth as much as she did. I'm not saying Tamara's scared of Vicky, but I think she know that Vicky would hit below the belt and go toes with Tamara because she's not on the show anymore and she gives 0 Fs at this point. Like, I would have brought up the daughter Tamara doesn't see and talk to. Sorry. And I think Vicky actually would have if she would have been on that trip and seen the nastiness. So Shannon is getting glam. And Vicky's like, oh, I left the dresses in the car. And Shannon's like, oh, well, where's the car? And she's like, at my office. It's like, fail, Vicky. Go get those fugly bridesmaids dresses. But then they all arrive at the party. And we get an appearance from Joe. I love that. Season 1 OG along with Vicky. Love it. So she is married now, has a kid. I would like to see her back on the show, to be honest. Like, let's get rid of Alexis forever. Let's get rid of Tamara because we already did once before. And let's bring Joe back. That would be fun because my husband actually looked at me while we were watching this and he made a valid point. He said, this is called like the Real Housewives. Like, none of them are housewives. And some of them, like, not to single people out, but just truth, are single. So they're not a housewife. And I was like, no, you're right. And then, like, majority of them now have kids that don't even live in the house. It is not what it used to be. Typically, besides Vicky, because she worked, most of them were like, yeah, my husband's rich. I stay at home and we have small kids in the house. I'm a real housewife of, and then your city. Like, literally a Teresa Giudice and a Melissa Gorga, Jacqueline, Caroline. Like, Jersey was the quintessential of I'm a real housewife because none of them worked. They all had the kids, the daughters, the sons running around, and they didn't work. And the husbands went to work and they were the housewife. They were cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. That is quite essential what it is supposed to be. But love that we saw Joe. Everyone's arriving. Everyone looks great. They get the theme. It's tacky bridesmaids dresses. Emily is just wearing her tacky old wedding dress, which is funny. Alexis picked the theme. And of course, she can't even wear what the theme is. Alexis literally is wearing just a plain bridesmaid's dress, which I feel like she would have in her wedding. Like, I don't like those plain ones, but that's exactly what she would have. And the hair, it was like an updo with the side braid. Like, she is just on another level of annoyingness. Like, you picked the theme and you didn't even dress to the theme. And it's like, what, do you not want to look tacky? Because you freaking looked tacky the whole season. So it's like, why would you care if you're going to look tacky when you're actually supposed to look tacky? Like, it's just getting so annoying with her. I'm just so glad we're done seeing her. We are going to have to suffer seeing her for like 10 minutes at the reunion, but that's it. So then we get Heather thinking that Katie and her husband are snubbing her outside. But then Katie thinks Heather snubbed her and her husband. So it's just like, it's a tit for tat at this point. They're never going to be friends. They just need to agree to disagree. They just don't like each other. I definitely think Heather was like doing snooty stuff behind the scenes we didn't even see or hear about with Katie. And Katie's not going to forget about it. And Heather's like mad that she's now going to come on national television because she probably didn't think she would. It's just a lose-lose with them. I'm like wondering if we get rid of Heather too, because we did in the past. Like this was her comeback and she's fizzling out and fading for me. I saw a post today. I don't know who posted it, but they were like, can I just write an apology to Bravo for ever wanting Heather and Tamara back? Because they're the ones that were all kind of like, no, like get out, go away. So then Jen and Ryan arrive. She is definitely a Malibu bride in her Barbie two-piece bridal outfit, kind of like Sheena Shea back in the day, having like the skirt and crop top, but at least this is like a party. So I don't think Jen's going to actually wear like a skirt and crop top two-piece set for her wedding. So she has like a hot pink skirt and then a white like crop top. And she has the veil. She'll look beautiful. Totally rocking that Malibu Barbie, Malibu and Diet Coke vibe. Loved it. So Gina and Tamara then talk, and Tamara is like, you can tell she's mad at Gina for not being mad at Shannon. Like it's backfiring on her. And Gina's like, you don't want to just burn the bridge. You want to like burn the whole town down. And she does. It's like Tamara will stop at nothing for everyone to fight. And it's like, girl, she realizes that Shannon, that was like shitty for her to dig that info up. But like, I do have to give a point to Shannon for not using it. I mean, I'm not saying it's like, oh, that was kind of mean you dug that up, but let's be real. They all do mean shit. And that's why they're all on the show. And they all have to be catty at times. But when Shannon says, I'm sorry, I believe her. When Tamara does, I don't. Because how many times has she said sorry to Jen? If I could count, it would be a million. And she's never sorry because actions speak louder than words. Like this is what I feel like I tell my 6-year-old. So now I'm telling it to Tamara. Your actions every week with Jen or Shannon, you're not sorry. She doesn't even say sorry to Shannon anymore. But she says sorry to Jen all the time. And it's like, Jen doesn't want to hear it. And then we get Terry Dubrow entering the room, and it's so weird. He's like mouth kissing everyone. Like when he's like coming over to say hi to everyone. It's like, ew, are you okay? Did that new nose like get hit with something in your brain? It was like weird. He's like open mouth kissing Tamara. I feel like so weird. So then we get the talk between Emily, Heather, and Katie about the whole babysitting situation. So Emily is a little irritated that Katie and her daughter are trying to pin this gossip on her 8-year-old twin boys. And she's like, my boys don't even know who Heather is, which I probably agree to that, because when they went to Emily's house, oh no, that wasn't even her house. That was her in-laws' house where they did that like slip and slide thing. Like her sons weren't even there. So she has never had like an event. Like the only people that her sons probably even know is Gina. Like legit Gina. Like who else is she hanging out with and bringing over to her house? Like it's different if she's hanging out with these ladies elsewhere, but Heather is not coming over to her house and hang out. And she maybe talks shit, but not in front of those kids, I don't think. So Katie even confessed in her confessional with her 19-year-old daughter that since she's older, she does talk about things around her, which I agree. I mean, their case closed right then and there. Like you're probably gossiping to her, which is like fine and dandy. But I'm more disappointed that then the 19-year-old daughter, who is an adult, is talking trash to 2 8-year-old boys to then like repeat it and then spin the narrative that it's all their fault. And then the real dirty doings that we know Katie is talking trash in the house. They flashed to her 6-year-old son at the dinner table. And I made a little meme about this past week. He is gangster. He literally said, was Heather mean to you again for the millionth time? Oh my God. We needed that kid in his own confessional and or a seat at the reunion. I mean, oh my God. That was so freaking funny. And so many people were like, oh my God, see, that's terrible. And I mean, it is terrible. It's kind of funny, but it's like, that's such evidence that Katie does talk about these people. And I'm not saying she's probably talking to her husband and thinks the kids aren't listening, but newsflash, the kids are always listening. Always. It's just inevitable. They're always listening. But then they get together to take the group picture. I was like disappointed. We didn't really get any like talking with Vicky. It all blew up. Heather and Katie, it's going to be like, no, they're just not friends. Yeah, they all take the group picture. And Emily said, is this the first time you've both been in a room together? And she points to Shannon and Tamara. And at first I thought she was pointing to Shannon and Alexis, but then Shannon like stormed off, and Shannon was like, you're the reason I left London early on my trip and I was looking forward to it. And then she stormed off. That's what I mean. It's like, Shannon, you need to relax. Like, we can't storm off every time. But Emily, way to freaking blow it and say that, because we probably could have got the picture and then we could have gotten an organic conversation and Shannon not storming off. And then Alexis whispered to Tamara, oh, have another drink. Shut up. Shut up, please. It's like, I just can't with her anymore. And I just can't wait until we do not see her anymore. But it's like, Shannon like wasn't even drinking. Like, that's the only thing they have on her. It's like every time. And it's like, she's just mad that you're even here because you're not on the show. And then she's mad that Tamara ruined her birthday trip. Like, I'm going to come ruin your birthday trip, Alexis, and see how you like it. And you have to leave early. You'll probably freaking cry. Like, when she came to that one dinner this season and cried, and she's like, you don't know what I'm going through. It's like, yeah, no one knows what you're going through because you're actually not going through anything. John Jansen, your boyfriend, is the one that's suing Shannon for no reason. And Shannon's going through something because he's deciding to take it to this level. And then you're just along for the ride. You're actually not going through anything. You're just dating the person that's suing somebody else. So if we're going to feel bad for someone and cry for someone, it's going to be Shannon. It's not going to be you. But then Shannon has the most awkward moment ever with Katie's husband. So she like had stormed off, and I don't know if we like missed them saying something else, because it's just like weird how she kind of like flipped the switch and like flipped out on Katie's husband, Matt. So Shannon was like, I used to say I'm done and then I'd go back, but now when I say I'm done, I'm done. And he's like, well, maybe you should just leave. And like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, maybe it's just time for you to go. And I don't know if he meant like the party or he was talking about the show. And I feel like she thought he was definitely talking about the show. And then they get in the weirdest argument. It's just like, you know what? I don't know why you are speaking to me like that. And then he's like, you came up to me. It was just like so weird. And I definitely feel like there's something we missed, because I feel like she just freaking flipped out. Or I don't know, she's just getting pissed that like everyone is not seeing the awfulness that Alexis is bringing to the show. But then we are alerted that John Jansen, aka Johnny J, rolls up to the party. Emily notifies Shannon because she does come back in. And then she is like lifting Gina up over the wall to like look, and Shannon is at least laughing, so she's having fun with it. So I'm glad you came back into the party. But then he, I think, is having a midlife crisis with his wardrobe. I guess it's because he's older than Alexis, so I feel like he thinks he needs to like dress young, but he steps out of the Tahoe and he's looking like Steven Tyler with all those scarves. Now, I love me some Steven Tyler. I was actually supposed to go to the farewell concert that was supposed to be happening this year, and our tickets were supposed to be for September, but he has not recovered his voice, and they had to give all of us a refund. So I am lucky enough to have seen him. Probably saw them like 8 years ago in concert in Atlantic City. Wonderful. Love Aerosmith. I've talked about love my 80s rock. And John Jansen is trying to look like Steven Tyler or like Stevie Nicks at this point with the skinny scarves. And I'm like, what are you wearing? And then when he went on Watch What Happens Live, he wears that too. So it's like, I think he's just thinking he needs to look young and hip for like his now young girlfriend. It's just very weird. But yeah, Mr. I Don't Want to Be on Camera was in the confessional and rolling up, getting out of a car all dramatically to pick Alexis up. Thank God. All he did was pick her up. But like, we don't need to see you. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Drive away in that car. So then we get the black screen and we get 3 weeks later. Bam. Hitting us with all the FBI stuff with Ryan. So we get Tamra, Heather, Emily, and Alexis going out to lunch. And Tamara's like, I told you when I'm right, I'm right. And then she pulls out a hat and it says FBI on it. And it's like, this is what I mean. Tamara can dish it out, but she can't take it because I'm telling you, I'm going to come on for a guest appearance next season, or I'm paying somebody if Tamara comes back on to say to Tamara, oh, how's your daughter you don't talk to? Let's just see what Tamara says. Because then I would look at her and be like, bitch, I'll say whatever I want to you because of all the terrible things you've been saying to me. So not only did she do that to Shannon all season, she did it to Jen because she did it to Ryan. So you're hurting Jen while you hurt Ryan. And at the party, I forgot to say, Ryan's friend was there that does all the trips. And he literally called him his bookie. And then they're like, or no, his money launderer. So then it says under the name, it's like Ryan's friend and Matt. And then it was like bookie. But he's literally like making fun of it and calling him a money launderer at the party. And I feel like that's why Katie's husband was like hiding and then got in that awkward conversation with Shannon. He probably didn't want to associate with that guy. All the men were probably like keeping their distance from that guy because he's definitely going to jail. He's getting in trouble. So then that's what they're talking about. They're like, the friend's going to go away. I think what I read is like Ryan's not involved and he's going to like cooperate and help. So I don't know if that means he's going to rat on his friend. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Like I said, Ryan was in the DMs. I'd love for him and Jen to come on the podcast. I'm going to reach out to them again. I would love it. But I was like, oh, come on the podcast. Say whatever you want. Love it. Because then they were on Watch What Happens Live after this. And they were kind of getting into it. But Jen goes over to Katie's house and meets with Gina and her and is almost having like a, oh my God, what did I get myself into moment? So she's crying, obviously upset with everything that's happening. And then I feel like she was saying, sometimes I am like wondering why I left my old life. So we understand that Jen was feeling very alone and neglected in the marriage, which is so sad that that happens. And I understand if people want to leave for that. So what I think was happening is they did have a dependable marriage, but like the husband was probably like, oh, we've been together so long. I don't like have to be affectionate and tell you I love you every day. It's like, yeah, you do actually. And she's like lost in the sauce because she has all the kids. She's just a housewife. She doesn't even have a bank account, a credit card. Oh, that was so sad. So she's just feeling alone. And then she meets Ryan and he's like falling all over her and like probably telling her how beautiful she is all the time and like giving her affirmations and making her feel good. And she left her normal, dependable marriage for that. And she was almost like, I feel like saying, did I make a mistake? Did I leave a safe marriage for this risky one now? And if things go up in flames, my life is screwed. I mean, could you imagine if Ryan got or gets in trouble? Oh my God, she'll be just screwed. She lives in his house. All her kids are there. That's why the one son's like, I'm peacing out and going in the military and getting away from all you people. But they were on Watch What Happens Live. They're still together. Everything seems fine. He's not in prison. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that, you know, nothing's happening. I'd love to know what's happening with his cease and desist and whatnot with Tamara, though. So I think he just sent her the cease and desist and then that's it. But he has the same attorney that Jim Bellino used. And look at Jim Bellino. He won. Ryan could easily win against Tamara if he wants to go down that route and do all that. But it's like a lot. And I do applaud him if he just kind of leaves it be at that, because I don't blame him for sending her that because she's on national television literally doing that. But after the finale episode and her wearing the FBI hat, I wonder if he's like, no, actually, I'm going to resend her that letter. Oh, but the reunion is going to be amazing. We're going to get all the ladies. We're going to get Emily calling John Jansen and Alexis like trash, basically. She's like, every trash can needs a lid, and John Jansen found his. And I'm like, oh, girl, you've thought of that for a while, and I love it. And we're going to get Shannon and Tamara. I hope Andy tells Tamara, like, yeah, you were a little out of control. We're going to get the appearance from Alexis. She's thinking she's going to be like so smart and school Shannon, and Shannon's going to look at her and say, yeah, and then I won that lawsuit, asshole. And it's like, oh, thank God, praise Jesus, hallelujah, that we know that our girl Shannon won that lawsuit against Johnny J. I hope he had to pay her lawyer fees and court fees too, because he's the demon that wanted to bring it all to light. She was going to give him $75,000. All he had to do was sign a non-disparagement agreement and say, I won't yap my mouth about you, because isn't that what he wanted too? It's like, yeah, you both could just not yap about it. Because at the end of the day, if you think anything you or Alexis says is going to change our mind about you, it's not. And it's actually the more you talk about yourself or about Shannon or saying what a nice guy you are, I'm going to just assume you're not, because you have to like save face at all cost and prove to everyone that, oh, I'm so nice. It's like, no, if you were nice, you would just tread on with your life and be nice. So very excited for the reunion. I'm going to have a guest on for the reunion. I'm so excited to recap it. And we are now going to take a little break, and then we will recap the Real Housewives of New York. Do you ever struggle finding unique gifts for kids that will be excited about? Look no further. Ellie and Mila Boutique has everything from custom jean jackets, backpacks, sneakers, and more. Go to ellieandmila.com. That's ELLIEANDMILA.com to use my code BRAVOT10 to receive 10% off your order. I know my daughters have the jean jackets and the fanny packs from there. I'm going to get them backpacks, and I just got them sneakers. They are so cute. They kind of look like Golden Goose sneakers. Everything is just so unique. So get them for your own kids or for gifts, friends, baby showers, anything. Everything is perfect. So that's ellieandmila.com and use my code BRAVOT10. And we're back, and we had New York. So I feel like New York is getting a lot of flack because people are like, oh, it's so boring and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's because we don't have like intense, like dark fighting history with all these people. Like, oh my God, everything's getting so dark and the fights have so much meaning. I don't mind New York. It's like my light viewing. Like I said, Orange County's getting so dark. Jersey was getting dark. When it gets too dark, it's like, oh shit, now we gotta get a new cast. But that's why New York is a little fresh. They have the petty drama, which we do still always like the drama, but we like the petty drama. And at least we're getting a very fun themed episode, because Jessel is opening it up with a Clueless montage, because she's going to be having a Clueless themed birthday party.
As if.
Which I love, because who does not love that movie? So I was having a little more expectation for her, though, with the party, with her outfits, because she didn't actually wear any of the outfits that were in Clueless. They were just like themed like Clueless, but she's also having to tell Pavitt what Clueless even is, because he has never seen it. I mean, their marriage is so funny, but I also would never be shocked if they announced that they were getting divorced, because I feel like since they were friends, like, do we all remember their background story? They were roommate friends, and then they just like started hooking up. I feel like it's because they were probably like drunk one night and they're kind of like, whatever. And then it was just kind of like, all right, whatever. And then they just got married and then had kids. So I would not be shocked if they ever got divorced. And I'm not saying I wish that upon them, but speaking of divorce, do we all see Teddi Mellencamp filed for divorce? Now that I didn't see coming. That's what I mean. The ones I don't see coming happen. Like Kyle, never thought that. Teddi, never thought that. Dorit, maybe, because I was seeing it. Like that PTSD, PK had had enough of it. But really was shocked about hearing Teddi, and we don't know any of the details. I just kind of like segued right into that. I'll interrupt the recap of New York, but we have no detail and no background and no reason. And of any time we would want her to be back on reality TV because everyone never wants her on TV. I would want her on TV now because I want to know what happened in your marriage. I saw this one post and it was like her face over that girl that was in Mean Girls. And it was like, I saw Kyle Richards getting a divorce, so I wanted a divorce. When it was like, I saw Regina wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops. So I don't know. And talk about there will be no actual housewives on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They're all single. That is going to be wild. I feel like we should bring them on speed dating. That would be pretty cool. And then Teddi could come. Oh, it already filmed. Well, I don't know. See, that's what I mean. I don't know when her and Edwin were having problems, but I need like some background story. So her and Tamara are still putting out the podcast, but I don't know if she's ever going to address it. She made the post on Instagram and then it's like radio silence. That's it. It's like, do we know why? You don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm getting divorced. I always thought they had a nice marriage. And this is his second marriage and this is her second marriage. So I don't know. Guess third time will be the charm for both of them. But as we move on, Sai and her husband are plant shopping because she said she doesn't want to spend money at Whole Foods anymore on food. And they're going to build their garden in their upstate house. Because I was like, where are they putting their garden at New York? She said they're there all summer, and then that's where they're going to do the garden. And then they take her aunt up there, and they bring her mom's ashes. And I thought that was really nice. So they keep some. The husband said, why don't we keep some in like a urn, and we'll keep it in the house, and then put some with the tree. So they put the ashes under the tree, and then did a little ceremony, and I thought that was really nice. Everyone was really emotional. The kids were sad. It was nice though. It's nice to see these like real moments. Like, of course it's sad, but this is when it becomes reality TV. This is really happening in their life, so we're watching it. So their house is cute and they're totally redoing it all. Love her plans for the kitchen. I could see them for next season when the house is done. It would be fun for them to do a little trip there because I like that they do like they did Erin's house for like fun little sleepover close by, and then they're going to do like a vacation trip. So I love that. So I could see them doing that at her house. I liked when they did that on Jersey too. Like they would go down like the shore, which is fun because like I've said before, we're Jersey Shore people. So it's fun to see that relatable. And then they go on like the fun vacation. Jenna is now a new editor-in-chief at, I don't remember how to pronounce it, but it's like a fashion magazine brand. It was giving me like Miranda Priestley vibes from like Devil Wears Prada, since she's like editor-in-chief. And I was like, whoa, she is just up there in the fashion world. Like, I feel like her being on the show with Rebecca Minkoff is weird. They don't talk about Rebecca Minkoff stuff as much. Like, she's such a flop for me this season. And it's so disappointing because, as I said, loved her bags, thought she was going to be interesting, thought her and Jenna would vibe just because of the fashion background industry, but she is a dud. And there are so many people. I feel like it's easy to cast New York because I know Melissa Gorga has said before, and some of them on Jersey have said it's really hard to cast on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And that's why some of them think they won't do a whole new recast, or obviously they're hoping because they don't want to lose their job. But I feel like New York would be easy to cast because everyone's interesting. Everyone has crazy jobs. Everyone's in fashion. Like, lots of people have money there. Obviously, you need to take into account everyone's interesting, but how many people actually want to be on TV? But I just can't believe out of all our choices out there, we got her, unless she's really going to pick it up this season. But so far, she's a major flop for me. But then we get Raquel visiting Uba, another newbie who is more interesting than Rebecca Minkoff, but I don't know what she is wearing. She is too dramatic with the fashion. Like, since she's in the art world, the fashion is just too much. So Uba is showing her paintings, and she's like, oh my gosh, these are so good, and you could sell these. And she really could. Like, when she walked in, I didn't know Uba painted those at first, and she's like, oh, I painted all these and I'm showing them to you. I'm like, oh shit, they actually are good. So then they were just both talking about, because Raquel used to do modeling, And then Uba was saying how she was in Canada and then she moved to New York. And they were just talking about that. So I like that they have all that in common. And then Raquel has like the commonality with Brynn about like being abandoned by the dad. So she's fitting in way better than Rebecca Minkoff. Then Uba brings up the Hamptons because she said she called Raquel over there mainly to save face a little bit with her and tell her, you know, I don't want you to think that's how I always act. I just like really was not having a time in the Hamptons. And she said what we all didn't see off camera is Brynn was saying, don't react like that because then everyone will think you're just an angry Black woman. And I don't know why Brynn would say that to Uba. And I don't know if Brynn thinks she could say that because she is Black as well, half Black. I don't know. It's just like, don't piss Uba off or any of them off, and then maybe they won't react like that to you. Brynn is definitely a little shit stirrer, a little pot stirrer, but then tries to act like she's all like, like all giggly and like, I just like to laugh and have fun all the time. I don't like drama. It's like, actually you do because you like are constantly like, she's doing the whisper down the lane, changing the story to everybody and then like stirring the pot with her giant wooden spoon. So Uba said the funniest quote. She's like really getting me with the quotes this season. She said, my fridge is full of fish, no beef here. And I'm like, oh my God, that's funny. Oh. So Brynn, Jessel, and Erin go to Alice and Olivia to shop for the Clueless party. Or just shop in general, I feel like. But then Erin said that Jenna and Cy were at lunch. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad that Jenna and Cy can go to lunch, even though Jenna is saying Cy runs around New York and says, everyone hates you. And she hasn't reached out to her since her mom's cancer, like Jenna hasn't to Erin. And she said, if that's the type of friend she is, I'm good, which is really sad. You can tell Jenna's like socially awkward, but it's like at some point you cannot excuse your socially awkward cues for her mom has cancer and you guys are friends and on a show together. Can you text her? Can you send her a text? Like you're going to lunch with Cy and we never even saw that lunch. So they probably filmed it and the lunch sucked and they're like, we're good. We won't show it. So Brynn said she's just over Uba being crazy and going, no, 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 no. And I was like, oh my God, she did it so good. And they were like laughing in the store. It was so funny. But then they all arrived to the Clueless party. I'm stealing this theme. Like when I have my 40th birthday, I'm 33, so we have plenty of time to plan. Or maybe like my 35th, I'll do like a mini one. I loved the Clueless theme because like I feel like all of them love that movie, especially, I mean, I forget how old some of them are, but all of my friends and I love that movie. Like that is our time. We love that. That and Mean Girls. Mean Girls would be a really fun theme too. But Jenna comes as the dad, dead, like the lawyer dad. Oh my God, that was hilarious. She's like coming in with the suit, with the fake phone, but also like weird. She like had a emotional support attachment to that fake phone the whole night. Like she was having serious conversations and like holding it up to her ear. My husband watched this. Usually he doesn't watch New York with me, but I wanted him to just watch like the party. So I just put the party on. I was like, oh my God, look how fun this party is. And he's like, could she put that phone down like she's talking to people? And I was like, yeah, you tell him, Mike. Like she should. So then Erin arrives in the Cher driver's ed outfit. So that was like the sheer nice shirt with like that sweater underneath. I remember she couldn't find it the day she was trying to look for it for the driver's ed because she's like, I need something presentable. And she's like, Lucy, where is my shirt? And she's like, is it at the cleaners? That was the cleaning lady. But I loved Brynn's. Brynn is number one. That wins. She comes as Dion from the opening scene outfit with like the black and white plaid outfit with the red shirt with like that crazy hat. Freaking loved it. Loved that. A+ for that. Cy has the outfit on that Dion is wearing when they go to the mall and shop. And she has it's like the knitted hat and the like red velvet, like long sleeve shirt with like that sweater dress over it. And she had the lollipop. She had the nose earring. I mean, Everyone was hitting the nail on the head. Loved it. Freaking Rebecca Minkoff comes in just wearing black. Boring. Like Jessel said in the confessional, she's not going to Shaz's birthday party. She's going to Shaz's funeral. And it's true. It's like, please, your personality is boring. At least dress like the theme. I mean, if you go to a theme party and don't dress as the theme that was requested by the party thrower or the birthday person, especially when it's a birthday, don't come. Please don't come. It's like just terrible. Raquel is wearing the white Calvin Klein date outfit. Loved that. When the gay guy, unbeknownst to Cher, was gay, picking her up. And the dad was like, Cher, you gonna put something on? It looks like you just have underwear on. And she's like, Daddy, it's Calvin Klein. She's like, duh, I was just putting something on. And it's like just like a sheer white shirt over it. I love that she thought that was putting something on. But that's, I mean, everyone basically had the outfits nailed on the head. Rebecca Minkoff, no. Uba wasn't wearing the exact outfit, but she had the yellow like plaid theme. So it wasn't the exact outfit Cher was wearing, but it was on theme at least. Because Jessel was the same. I mean, she was the birthday girl. I thought she was going to have the yellow plaid outfit because that would have been great. Oh my God. And if her and Brynn would have done a picture together because she had the exact Dion outfit that they had on during that would have been great. But she didn't actually have an actual outfit from the Clueless movie. It was just all themed, and she wardrobe changed like 3 to 4 times. But the fact that she didn't have an exact outfit, I just thought was really, really weird. But then Erin is saying to Sai that she's just not interested in having a friendship with Jenna. And Sai feels a little caught in the middle because they just had lunch together. And she's like, well, why don't you just talk to her? And then Brynn is asking the question to Rebecca Minkoff that we all want to know. Why doesn't she drink around them? And why is she boring? She's not wrong with either things. So Rebecca Minkoff is like, well, I will drink around you guys, just not tonight. And it's like, why? Yeah. It's like, just have a glass of wine. Like, it's like, did you really come there not dressed in the theme and you're not even going to have a glass of wine? Why are you on the show? Ugh. Thank God Brynn said it for all of us, though. Then on Watch What Happens Live, though, Raquel was on and she's like, I don't think Rebecca Minkoff's boring. It's like, yes, she fucking is. And oops, I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb. Usually I don't. But yes, she is. And you just don't want to say it because you don't want her to hate her and have the Scientologists come after you. But then the funniest thing happened at the party. This random guy comes up to Pavitt and he says, oh, how do you know Jessel? And he's like, oh, I'm her husband. And he's like, really? He's like, you're married to Jessel? Really? And he's like, yep. It's like, I'm sorry, random man, who are you? Because if you know Jessel, how do you not know this is Pavitt, her husband? And how did you get an invite to this birthday party? Then Brynn comes up to Jessel after the third wardrobe change and full photo shoot. So that was a little weird. Brynn was given a little shade and she's like, this is weird. Like, are we at a wedding? And she wasn't even taking pictures with all the other ladies. And like I said, she's not even in one of the Clueless outfits. So you're just taking a bunch of photos. Honestly, I think she's having a bunch of solo photos taken because like Jessel had a glow up. Like, I don't know if she specifically had plastic surgery or it's just some teeth whitening, makeup and hair and working out, but she looks hot. She had a glow up from last season. So get it, girl. Get it with all these pictures. But Brynn said she needs to leave for a spray tan at like 9:30 at night. That was so bitchy because also it's like, do you really need a spray tan? And like, I feel like you kind of don't even work and you create your own hours. Like you could get a spray tan at another time, not when I'm about to blow out the candles on my birthday cake. Thanks, bye. Then Abe awkwardly goes up to Jenna to talk about her and Erin's problems. That was like so weird. And he's like, oh, I just feel like you guys need to talk. It's like, okay, did the producers make you do that, Abe? Or did you just hit the cocktails too hard at the party? You don't even know what you're saying. But then Erin and Jenna finally talk. And this is when Jenna has that weird, fake, giant, old phone, like attached to her ear, like she's talking to someone. Maybe she was being fed lines to say to Erin, now that I'm thinking about it. Erin said she thinks Jenna believed Brynn and not her about the whole like hoopty car Hamptons Uber whispering down the lane story. But she also said Brynn saw Jenna and Erin getting close. And then they were using the same hair and makeup artist at the reunion, like Jenna and Erin. And they show like a flashback of this. And like Brynn kept awkwardly coming in like the room. And she's like, hi, like look at my dress, like be my friend, pay attention to me. And she's like, they're like, oh, okay, bye. Like we're getting our hair and makeup done by the same people, so get out. And then she said Brynn started using that makeup artist too. So maybe it's like a little like, oh, I don't want you guys to be friends without me. Or maybe since Brynn talks about everybody behind their back, I feel like she doesn't want anyone to sit around and talk to each other because then they'll talk about what she's talking about behind their back and realize that Brynn's the problem. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Like maybe she's said so much stuff to Erin and Jenna, and they'll compare notes, and then they'll be like, oh, Brynn, you're kind of like a little shit stirrer. Like, look at what you're saying behind closed doors. But I don't mind New York. I'm still liking it. I did not watch it the other night. I have to watch it. And then I will be on regular program schedule. So I will be watching New York, and then I will watch the part 1 of the reunion for the Real Housewives of Orange County. And I will be having a guest on and I will be recapping that. So maybe I'll split those episodes up. I'll just do like a bonus episode for the recap of New York. And then I'll just do my regular episode for Orange County of part 1 of the reunion. Very excited that we're getting the reunion. Very exciting this season is over. Like there needs to be a change with Orange County cast and there needs to be a change with Jersey. I'm wondering when we're going to hear about the change. Melissa Gorga thinks we will hear about it in January. I mean, she doesn't even know. She was just like giving a scientific guess, I feel like. But I'm really wondering what's going to happen. We see Teresa and Gia Giudice are like on Poshmark selling like used handbags, like talking. Very weird. Somebody wrote under it like, I wouldn't buy any of those bags if they're selling it. They're probably fake, like those bracelets that Louis gave them. I mean, we all still always wonder what's happening with Louis. Feel like all of that has died down because I feel like when your show isn't on, you're not in the limelight as much. We're not talking about you. But I'm wondering what's happening with all his shady business dealings. Like he's a shady person, I think. Let's just all hope she doesn't go to jail for another husband again, because that would be bad because she can't leave the daughters. So I hope everyone has been having a nice week. I hope everyone had a nice Halloween. We had a lovely Halloween. It was abnormally warm. It was like sweating walking around trick-or-treating, which never happens in Delaware. And right now it is freakishly warm. So I cleaned our garage out today. Just like sweep the leaves all out, reorganize. I love the organizing. I told you guys this before. Like the Sunday reset, I just did a Wednesday reset in the garage. It was lovely. Loved it. See, when everyone's at school, I can get shit done. Like the past couple days, and then we were sick. It's just like throw in the towel for that. Nothing got done. You know, when you're sick and everyone else is sick, you're like, oh my God, I can't do anything. So then it all kind of piled up, and I'm like, I need to do one of those reset videos I watch those people do. But like I say, those are on Sundays. Where did their whole family go? Because they're cleaning the whole house. You know, that takes like freaking 5 hours. And there's like kids' toys. So you know they have children. So where did your husband and children go? Like, did they just disappear for 5 hours so you could Sunday reset? That's why I have to wait and do Monday reset because everyone's in my house on Sunday. Can't reset nothing. I do always wash our sheets on Sundays. That's like the thing. It's just like fresh new sheets for the week. And I basically do the reset of everything else on Monday. I'm like switching out the wardrobe, but that's what I mean. It's been weirdly warm. So I thank God I didn't put all the like summer warm weather stuff away because I feel like I've been wearing it. This is when it's confusing though. Like one day it was cold and the next day it was hot. It's like, it's either or. It's either. It's not either or. It's just either. I need it to be hot or I need it to be cold. No, like back and forth every other day. And then the wardrobe's all confusing. But I hope everyone is having a good week, and I am looking forward to having a guest on for the recap for Orange County Reunion.
As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at BravoT with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.